I'm co-founder at TextCortex, TextCortex AI. It's a knowledge answer engine. Instead of like searching inside of all these files and everything, we can just like do the search, find the necessary part, and then show you the answer. When you look at AI, it's able to do all the things, but it doesn't have the legs and arms. So we need to give the legs and arms to it. But we also need to give the legs and arms in the software.
There are people who are scared to give it the legs and arms though, which is...
It's coming. There's, I think, no escape from that. Terminator.
Terminator is coming. If you keep it small, it's like a junior developer. So if you can really know how to navigate it, kind of mentor it, it can create the code for you from like a screenshot. I think that would replace developers. Can you maybe introduce yourself, what you're working on currently?
Sure. I'm co-founder at TextCortex, TextCortex AI. It's a knowledge answer engine. So basically we go into the companies and then make their data accessible by everyone. So you can go in and ask a question, and then we find the relevant information and show you response to that, like what kind of files exist for this question. And instead of like searching inside of all these files and everything, we can just like do the search, find the necessary part, and then show you the answer. So we are being used by big companies, Forbes 100 companies in the United States, also in Germany, DAX companies are using us. We originally started in 2021. Back in the days, there was no ChatGPT whatsoever. Around that time, like I was fine-tuning GPT models under my desk. Like I had like a 170 Ti. I think it was the graphics card, two of them, like connected in parallel in SLI. So I was like training like very simple models because like the GPT was not able to respond to anything. It was just like a lobotomized version of whatever we have today. And no one was also talking about it. So back in the days, I was like toying around with the idea, like, can I do something like AI generated creativity? Is it something that people are willing to pay? Because at that point of time, like there was nothing like that, you know? And I trained it on like domain names to generate like, you know, domain names for startup ideas. And then when you buy that, or like when you like one of the domains and if you can buy it, then I got a cut out of it. So it was just like a pet project on the side. And then I made like, I don't know, $10 out of it. And I said like, God, like there's like a creativity that is made by an AI and someone paid money for this. This is insane. So it's going to be much bigger in the future. So I just like put all my eggs in this basket and I said like, okay, I'm going full in, quit my job at that time. And I just like started coding away. It was the COVID time. So I also had not so many things to do. And I made the TextCortex like the first version. And then afterwards, like started getting more people. And then afterwards, I saw that there's like a bigger potential. And I applied to Entrepreneur First. It's like an accelerator to find myself a business co-founder because I'm technical. Although that the business side as well in the past, I didn't go deeper in that part. And then afterwards, I met with my co-founder, Dominic, and then rest is history. 2021, we raised around 1.2 million, 1.1 million from B2 Ventures, which is also an investor in SpaceX and early investor in Facebook and also investor in DeepL. Also Speed invested in us. And from then on, we didn't raise again because we were also generating revenue. We still do. And it's like growing every day. And currently in 2025, end of 2024. So we're going to become like 4-year-old in summertime. Basically, that's it. Well, myself, I'm original from Turkey, Istanbul. I originally studied there mechanical engineering at the Yıldız Technical University. Around there, like I also started a company, and this company got acquired back in 2015, and that's what brought me to Germany. Otherwise, I was not planning to spend time in this cold Berlin, cold and like dark Berlin. But it just life unfolded in a way that I didn't expect, and yeah, I found myself here, living here for some time by now. Yeah.
Wow. Very, very, very interesting story. It's really cool that you decided to like leave your job and work on this idea, which was originally just domains, like generating domains. Was this the initial TextCortex or was it already something to do with the
It was another name. So it was like, it was not TextCortex, but it was like called NameCrea. It's also an open source project. You can actually see the code and everything is still on GitHub. And there's also a Medium article about how it was done. But it was not TextCortex. Like it was just like an idea that I use this as like kind of like an MVP if AI generated creativity is something people willing to pay. And it just like said like check. And then I said like, okay, I will start TextCortex now. And we dabbled in like writing assistancy. I mean, we still have writing assistants and everything. It took a lot of time until we find this niche and this knowledge because like we've seen this like a big problem within companies also for individuals. To this date, like we grew to around 2 million registered users, all PLG growth, no ads whatsoever. Everything with like happened with PLG growth. Everything happened with organic traffic. From then on now, we are just going to another.
Yeah, you did land like the biggest use case of Gen AI. I've spoken to so many people, and like especially experts, consultants, RAG systems and knowledge-based search is the one thing that most enterprises build on top of these LLMs. So, and it's quite, I mean, it's maybe initially easy to set up as a demo, but once you want it like functional, productional, all this kind of stuff, it becomes really difficult, or there's so many different parameters, especially evaluating these systems, building like something that is like scalable, secure. So having something that is like plug and play now seems to be like the go-to solution, right? It's the best thing. I've seen like so many, like let's say you want to build a chatbot, right? Like there's these platforms, voice flow, all these like plug and play solutions that people can just rely on and then build for like a large number of customers. So that's already super exciting. How would you usually set it up? Like, let's say we have like a big company and you want to set up like TextCortex. Like, how is the setup usually happens?
Basically, we first go in with our consultants, kind of like sales consultants or like their solution engineers, and try to understand their system. But everything is like, because we are coming from PLG growth, and also like you can just sign up and like pay with your credit card to start using the platform. Everything is like you just click around, connect your Google Drive, OneDrive, SharePoint, Dropbox, Notion, Confluence, whatever data source you have, and then like add syncs on it. So it's like syncing with your data at all times, and then ingesting this. So basically it's like very do it yourself. So you can do it yourself to connect it. There's one way, but if there's like, other security requirements, which comes with like some bigger companies, they would like to have like an enterprise separation. They want to use different database tables. Like they don't want to be in the same database environment. And then for that case, like we also have like a dedicated enterprise cloud. We can also onboard them there. We create their accounts and everything. If it's cloud, it's pretty easy going. But in some cases, that can also come in and say like, yeah, we want to have own tenant deployment. So we have an AWS account, Google Cloud, whatever. And we would like to have our own stuff running there. And then we are like, fine, we can also do that. And that's a bigger project. So there's like different steps, either like self-serve, enterprise cloud, or like the most time-consuming one to get into is like the one that I talked about for tenant deployments. On-premise is something we are looking into. We can also do that. There was also some like government agencies approached us. Haven't materialized yet, but like this is well within our capabilities that we can also deploy something that is running inside their data center and no data leaves the place, for example. That's also possible.
That's really cool. So it is technically possible, like if we have the data, for example, in Google Cloud on BigQuery, like one of these data warehouse platforms. So it's possible to use TextCortex to connect it to it, like a plug and play.
BigQuery, not yet, but it is possible. Basically, we can also do this connection. It's basically just an API call for us. I mean, there is like so many use cases, like whereas also people want to have the SQL database implemented. We're also going to implement that. There's tons of other stuff. Like there's just tons of different use cases. They still need to be done. But basically, BigQuery is possible. Postgres, we can ingest data from basically anywhere.
That's so fascinating, honestly. Like it's, I think people are really looking for such a solution. And I saw, do you know make.com? Like this automation
Oh yeah,
tool?
of course. We also have an
Yeah.
automation
You have,
like make.com integration there. People can use TextCortex
yes.
with make.com. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was using it to building like some automated pipelines, and now it's became a thing. Like it's on YouTube. There's a big communities basically building these automation AI. They call it like AAA, AI Automation Agency Community or whatever. So of course I'm part of that, and they're using make.com or Zapier for like many of the automations. I was looking to see like what kind of integrations they have, and I saw your logo, and I was like, oh my god, like this is like TextCortex. That's so cool. Like that was like a kind of like a very exciting moment. But like, how do you use make.com with TextCortex, for example?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest use case over there is like because we have like knowledge search. That's also one of our proprietary algorithms that works pretty well to find out documents and everything for a search query. So people upload their knowledge bases or like sync their Google Drive or something there. And then we give them like an endpoint. We have an API, and you can use the API endpoint to actually use this knowledge base to do whatever you want to do regarding your workflow. So you can directly ask questions to, hey, to your knowledge base, like, maybe make.com, I don't know, go into internet, search this, get this, and then afterwards, like compare this data with my knowledge base, for example. And then they would use us. I mean, when we first started, basically we were one of the API providers for natural language generation. OpenAI API was not even open to the public that time. And around that time, we had an API back in the days. I mean, it doesn't matter that much anyways, but we had our own custom models we were running. People could reach that. So that's how we make that integration start. But it's mostly related to knowledge search within your knowledge bases.
And when OpenAI opened their doors, did you guys freak out, or did you say like, okay, let's just switch to them? Or I don't know, is OpenAI under the hood of TextCortex? Are
Yeah,
you
of
guys
course. Like
using it?
we are model agnostic by now. Like you can use Sonnet models like Anthropic, Llama. We used to have, but we removed. You can use Sonnet. You can use GPT-0, 4.0, O1, model agnostic. So we definitely use that as well. But of course, like it's like enterprises, some of them they don't want to have it, so we can disable it for them. Or like we can deploy these models in specific regions within Europe to stay GDPR compliant. Things like that is possible.
I saw that I also was looking at your website. I saw a lot of like you're trying to work on certificates for compliances and security and stuff like this. What was like the main maybe hurdles that you saw, especially in Europe? Because we keep hearing a lot of discouraging stuff regarding AI in Europe. Did you guys have such problems developing like a very complex AI solution?
Of course, like whatever we do, we need to stay compliant. So it is making life harder for us when it comes to development. Any kind of data source, whatever you're connecting, there's sometimes like APIs that we want to use, but we cannot because they're in the United States, for example. Also, like we are ISO certified and now on the way to get SOC 2 certification, which is also like we're going to get it pretty soon. But with the certifications, it's also a lot of work that needs to go into that. Like you need to make sure all data is only accessible on need-to-know basis, because like we have around terabytes of data from users all around the world, and this can be reached by only few people. The production data access is only like very few people who can access in the company. So you need to design the systems like with a not fragmented, but like compartmentalized way of doing things. We also work with security consultants to check if there's any kind of leaks or problems that might happen and make sure that doesn't happen. Overall, like it is making things slower. In the United States, I think it was much faster to build something. But here it's always like you are living with the fear that, hey, we did something wrong somewhere, and you always keep going back to it, which is not good for innovation, but it is what it is.
I might have missed this. Did you guys start in the US or you started in Europe?
Directly in Europe.
Okay. But then you expanded to the US as well, or what?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of sales happening in US. We have, I think, like half of our, like not half, but like I would say like 30-40% might be coming from US revenue wise. The reason being for that is like because we started with the PLG growth and we got ranked in the search engines pretty high back in, I mean, we are still ranking high in the United States as well. And that brought us a lot of organic customers. And suddenly we also grew up there. But also interestingly, like for some American companies come to us and then they say like, hey, we want to use like your solution, not in American companies, because we don't trust they're just going to keep our data safe. But because you're a European company, you need to comply with the local rules. We trust you more. Literally, there's like European companies have this advantage, and some of the US companies, like if they're like aware of this kind of things, they would like to use solution like ours.
That's interesting because initially it comes as a disadvantage, but then it helps with the reputation. I heard this like now from multiple companies that they would trust a European because they know like we have very stricter rules, and then we're more careful. You have so many offers as well, so it's not only knowledge bases. I saw also like some workflow automations. What's the idea? What's the vision behind it?
Yeah, workflow automations. I was just working on it like before to this meeting. Workflow automation is going to be something very similar to what Zapier, what Make.com is doing, but like more kind of like AI power stuff. So we have like more modules compared to that. Like you can do like more vector searches, embedding searches, and things like that. It's like a little bit more like you can think Make or Zapier, but more on the direction of AI. And it's like more AI features compared to them. I think we are going to release it in like few months from now on. It's a huge product. And because of that, like it requires a lot of engineering superpower to be able to make that happen. And the product wise, like I think it's like, it is going to be used mostly for automating SOPs inside companies. So inside big companies, there are like a lot of actually automatable things. Was not possible to automate before because there was no AI, but now they became automatable. So this kind of use cases and specific templates like built for this purpose. But since we are already in the big companies, like most of them, and they come with us the problem, and we can say like, okay, now we're going to build you this, and then like give you the solution, and then they can start automating the stuff.
Did you find any problems about like evaluating these things? Like, okay, you can automate workflows, but how do you ensure for these people like it's gonna be accurate and it's gonna be okay, and like maybe some confidence intervals and stuff like this? Usually in machine learning
Yeah,
applications.
that's very true. That's very true. I mean, the confidence in like if the project or like the task is completed with 100% accuracy or like accurately, it definitely requires something else that needs to be implemented. We haven't started on that yet, but with the engineering, we have a really good team, and I believe like if we want to do something, if we have the time, we can do it. Not yet, but in future we will totally do that, and very looking forward to it.
So there's an interesting point because I've been speaking to a lot of people now working with these like Gen AI generation models, and it seems to be like the new trend is like the whole evaluation layer is been gone compared to traditional machine learning, like classification, computer vision. There's always evaluation sets or stuff like this. And since Gen AI came out, like since ChatGPT came out, all of a sudden people just didn't care anymore because the trust was somehow there. Everybody's like dealt with Gen AI or like ChatGPT. They know where's like when it can lie, when it can like hallucinate, when it can do bad stuff. But people trust it somehow.
That's a big issue. I mean, like on that side, like what we are doing is currently, for example, the reason that our product is like being used by so many people, so many companies, they also tried Microsoft Copilot. They used other things, and they said like your tool was the closest one to get the right answer, and also the ones that I can verify, because like we get you like the each and every data piece that we have used in that answer. You can automatically see it on the right side of the on their screen, and then you can also see highlighted with a highlighter which data was taken from where. So you look at this and like say like, okay, that was the right thing.
That's very smart. Because I feel also in Perplexity, for example, one of the first ones who started doing this, and then ChatGPT now does the whole referencing as well. It did make you feel a little bit more assured that, okay, this is where it is. So you can do like the extra work, check it out. Are you guys like selling it to lawyers? Because this might be something really
I mean,
interesting. I know.
we didn't like directly targeted them, honestly, but we have some paying customers who are lawyers that I can see in our database. I'm not exactly sure what they are doing. We didn't talk with them much, but lawyers are definitely a use case. Also, they are dealing with a lot of files and everything, but it's not something that we looked deep into.
Very good point, because maybe a little bit background story where I met you, right? We're part of this running club community, Founders Running Club. It's spreading all over the world now. Like we're almost in 40 different cities. And I met a lot of people who, especially maybe a year ago, there was this big push to build these like knowledge-based systems, especially for lawyers or tax consultants or whatever. And yeah, but it's really, really cool stuff. Like it's very interesting how these things are evolving, and also a bit scary because I guess with your product, it's really fun to work with because it does boost productivity, right? But I've been looking at like other stuff like Lovable. Have you seen this new product, Lovable?
I heard about, but I didn't check it out.
Very interesting. I'm usually very skeptical from these like apps that you can like from prompt to full stack application kind of solutions. But I did try them. If you keep it small, it's like a junior developer at the moment. So if you can really know how to navigate it, like kind of mentor it, it can create the code for you from like a screenshot. Let's say you want to build a full stack similar to maybe TextCortex, builds it for you, commit to GitHub all the changes so you can review it with them, and automatically preview the written code so you can see the front end on the right side. And it's honestly like it blew my mind. So right now I'm building a SaaS with some friends for like an outreach, AI powered outreach campaign app. And that thing really like accelerated at least the template. So like we don't have to look for different templates. You can start from literally just an idea with a screenshot, and then it built the basis. And then obviously like you need to pay for their full premium, whatever. So we didn't do that. We just used like a startup, just use whatever resources you can pick up. I think that would replace developers or lower the number of developers. It's really worrisome. Because today somebody asked me like, oh, it's like, do you think we're going to be doing what we're doing in 2 years? And I was like, I don't know.
Let's see.
About this whole thing.
Yeah, we are using Cursor at work. I mean, Lovell, I don't know about it, but Cursor, like it also has like this composer, so it works like an agent, like recursively until a problem is solved. It's just like recursively creates steps and executes them. I mean, it's great for some things, but it never, I mean, even with the AI, like it doesn't really work out. So I'm pretty sure that there are people gonna be keeping their jobs, but what is going to happen is like definitely the time being spent for, I don't know, solving bugs or like adding new features are getting much shorter. But you still need to have like a general understanding how the system works, because like it really cannot understand the whole context, and it just like takes ages to come up with a solution. But for example, I use this cursor composer to like just say like, actually the cool use case was like, I need to do an interface, and it can just generate me a working interface. After I give some like examples, hey, it needs to work like this. It's like, for example, a meeting recorder we were going to do. It needs to work like this. It needs to have like these options and this and this and that. And then I said like, okay, use these components from our component library and then create a React application. Bam, bam, bam. It just create a click dummy. It is much better than doing on Figma because it's interactive. It took like, I think on Figma, it would have taken like 2 days. It was done in like 5 minutes. And I have something to show as like a wireframe to explain it to the product managers. Done. It is insane for that purpose, actually. Not like a full-fledged apps, but like for creating wireframes, I think it's going to be could be a Figma killer, actually. I think Figma should, most probably they are doing something, but like doing designs like by pushing pixels around is also going to go away.
Yeah, that's I totally agree with this, because Lovable still cannot do back-end jobs, which is weird. But what he can do really good is front end, especially like I come from like a data science background. So like I'm maybe relatively new to front end stuff. And I can now build like an app that reasonably like works, maybe not super efficient, but like reasonably well enough to maybe sell it and like build a startup, at least like a first version before the senior developers jump in relatively quick. And like I use also Cursor because it just saved me the time of copying stuff to ChatGPT and all this kind of stuff. So that was really, really cool. Use also the Composer, really nice, maybe for documentation, for unit tests. It's like magic. Sometimes I start it and I go to, I don't know, to some coffee while while waiting for it to be done. So
like, nice, everything is done by now.
Yeah, no, definitely. Very, very fun time to be alive, especially if you're in the creator mode. So it's
yeah, definitely. For that, it's amazing.
TextCortex is your first company, right? So it's
No, my third company, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
Was there a difference to build maybe first of all like these two other companies? Are they also AI based or?
The first one was like there was no AI; it was mostly machine learning. We were making interactive, you can call it like interactive spaces for brands. Basically, we had this like Kinect laser depth sensor, so it can like create like a laser map, like a point cloud of the scene. And when someone is walking in front of it, you can like identify it much easier than using a camera and everything. And back in the days, we were using like OpenCV and this kind of libraries. It's just like, this put rectangle around people. And that was like just creating some animations, which looked like really cool on screen, like a big screens or like big projected things, surfaces. And that was basically used for advertising purposes. So that was my first company. I started it while I was studying. It was profitable from day one, but I also had to do like a lot of hardware, literally go to like a store and install this thing. And I started failing a lot of classes, and I said like, okay, it's not gonna go like either. I just gotta do that and not finish the school. And it was just like a fun project with my brother that we started. And there's still some videos. It's called We Dream. It's on Vimeo. You can find it. Still the videos. Super cool, super creative, super fun thing. But unfortunately, it doesn't go well with like studying at the same time. But then I went back to my studies. At my final thesis year, I decided to start another company. I'm always super interested in tech. And I also used to work at like the division of the, like, and the university, like who was building cars, electric cars. So I have decided like, okay, the electric cars was 2013 or something. Batteries are a huge problem. What can we do about it? About that time, there was also this graphene material came out, and I basically just started doing experimenting with like batteries, how to improve their lifetime, how to improve their range and everything like that. And from then on, the company Graphentech born. I got some patents in the industry for energy storage. And that company got acquired by a German-Turkish investor in 2015. And that's brought me to Germany, actually. And I worked as a CTO at this company for making this project a reality for some years. But we've seen like it's in Germany, doing hardware is even harder than most of the other countries, I would say, because of various regulations. The costs are super high and things like that. Then it didn't really work out until we got to some good milestones, but it didn't really work out. It was like really research intensive area. And then afterwards, I decided to go back into software because that's also where I came from. I know the best, and I know that there's like a lot of things can be done. Around that time, I was in Leipzig, living in Leipzig and making the Leipzig AI meetup. The first AI meetup of the town. It was like a 500,000 people town. And with that, like I got together with a lot of researchers and everything, but it was also still like yeah, there's not so much going on in the AI field at that point of time. So yeah, this is my third company by now. So I have two others before this.
You positioned yourself like very well to have like a very solid idea, and then all of a sudden the technology was there ready to make it even like way more scalable, way better like accuracy. I wonder, but like I know with AI it's just like ups and downs. What was like maybe like the down moment in the development? I know it wasn't like a straight up line going forward, or was it?
I mean, like at the moment, it's just like keep getting more and more capable. And also it's like keep getting more and more competitive. When we started in 2021, 2021, there was no term called Gen AI. That was the term coined later on. We were calling it was still called natural language generation, NLG. And we were selling us, I still have the pitch text, and it was sold as natural language generation product, saying that we are naturally able to generate language. And it was nothing called Gen AI or whatever. Technology-wise, it's there. It's just like needs to be implemented everywhere and needs to permeate to the whole industry. It's happening. It's happening slowly. It's going to take some time still. But the biggest problem is I don't see it on the tech side, but on the competition is just like getting so huge because there's insane amount of money put into this place. And there's like the same product is being done by like 20 other companies, which is super inefficient and super stupid. Yeah, we're just like watching it, but like we're also at the same time like have strong fundamentals because we are in the game for longer. So we are just like looking at it and like saying like, okay, this is not going to work out, but like suit yourself, guys. Try this out. So that's how I see the situation.
That I totally agree with you, because now I heard also from my friends who are in trying to get funding, trying to build like companies. Antler, for example, we have a friend who's applied there with like starting from like a really good idea. It seems to be like if your SaaS doesn't have AI powered in it somehow, like it doesn't get funding or that doesn't get the attention of the right people. But also that doesn't mean that you should just add AI for the sake of AI. Yeah, it's definitely a push for everybody to build something in that space. I mean, I'm also doing it because it does open a lot of possibilities. I mean, maybe if you would think about it, doing an outreach SaaS product is maybe a stupid idea because the competition is just so massive, like Clay and all these other ones, especially in Europe, like Apollo as well. Like the market share is like already taken by like these giants, and whatever feature we're gonna build, I feel like they can build it like, I don't know, within 2 weeks. So it is discouraging, but it shouldn't stop people from maybe experimenting. Maybe we have like an edge. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
I mean, there's also like, there's a lot of things that can be edged. Like you might know like some specific problem. Let's say you worked at Siemens for 10 years and you know, like there's like a very specific problem that not everyone knows about. And then you develop something just specifically for that. Maybe it's still an outreach, but outreach with a flavor in it. I don't know what that is. That still works out. I mean, what I'm trying to say is like people are just like they're blindly copying whatever out there and trying to sell that doesn't work out. Either you have to have something. Either you're, let's say, really good at distribution. So you know people, maybe you know, I don't know, your parents or your family is coming from like a really rich family and like, you know, all the like the DAX companies, like CEOs or whatever. That is like something, okay, I would understand. Like you can clone the product and you can sell it because you have the distribution channel. But like if you're just like saying like, yeah, I'm just going to clone this product and see how it goes, good luck with that.
That's an interesting point. I heard that the most best ideas at the moment coming from people who worked for like years in a specific industry. And all of a sudden now they know exactly like the workflows that these industries have. And it could be solved with natural language. And then you creating massive value by just automating these kind of stuff. This is something I'm trying to do right now. In Germany, there's so many inefficiencies, especially with like getting lawyers, for example, finding a lawyer, like especially like we're in this community, every 1 week somebody asks like, guys, do you know a good lawyer, or do you know like a tax
It's the
advisor, or
founder
do you know?
runners club, right? FRC.
It's yeah, it became the founders looking for tax advisor club. I don't know, like it seems to be like these industries. And fun fact, I was trying to find a tax advisor and I finally did. We sent 6
Congrats.
emails. Thank you. I still haven't met them yet, so I don't know if it's gonna go well. 6 emails before they decided to book me an appointment to phone me on my phone in like 2 weeks. I'm like, why? It's like there's so many like now chatbots. There's so many like appointment clicker. Like you don't have to use AI, you know, just like put a Calendly link or something so I can just book you. But it does provide a lot of potential. So that's already really cool. How do you see TextCortex moving on? Like maybe the next couple years?
Next couple of years, now we are fully going into bringing this technology into the businesses because, as I said, like we are getting like millions of impressions and clicks every month. We grew organically, we continue to grow organically, but we see there's massive potential within the companies and there's a lot of inefficiencies and we want to go in there and solve all of them. And that's why until now, like 4 years, the company has been founded. We had like 0 salespersons in the team. Now we
What?
hired our first year, hired our first salesperson, actually 2 of them, and we will hire
Congratulations.
more. And then thank you very much. And now we're gonna attack the market into the like going and selling this and saying like, guys, we have a great solution for you. It is hosted in Europe, it's certified. Come work with us, and we will solve your problems, make everything more efficient for you. And we're gonna listen to your problems, and we are solve whatever the problem or like whatever the inefficiency you have. So that's what we are looking forward to. Another thing that we are looking forward to is like this new product called Xenoflows. It's going to be the workflow automation tool, which is like it's mostly with the AI and data retrieval things. And basically, yeah, from then on.
I like how you're approaching the problem. I mean, it's your product is like a SaaS product, but you're approaching it as like an agency. So we saw in Berlin, there's a lot of like agencies, like Gen AI, consultancy agency, whatever. So they kind of also doing a similar work where they go to the clients, see their inefficiencies rather than just like, hey, this is the web app, try to use it. So I really like this approach of like having like a more maybe in-person touch with the clients as well and
Yeah,
try
sure.
to fix their stuff. So that's really
Yeah,
cool.
exactly. There's also like really interesting ideas come out from it. Like also like like for example, a certain, let's say automotive, right? The automotive have like, there's a lot of automotive companies and most of them share the same problems actually. So when you talk with one of them, develop a product out of that, and we can do that because we are the product builders. We build it, test it with them, works out, and then scale it to the others. So it's always like the same playbook. And I really do like to be also in contact with the users to understand what their problems, how they're using the product. It's super fun to understand like what's going on in there. It's much better than just like looking at your Stripe account, the money coming in, and then it's even better. Like you go talk with them and like find more problems to solve, and then just like grow that.
Yeah, right. I mean, also looking at your Stripe account is also it's also fun, I guess. Maybe if you would now predict something like for the big prediction, what do you think the next big thing would be? I mean, if RAG now like establish itself, it's like a very now everybody agrees RAG is a very good thing in Gen AI. Next big thing, you have a prediction? Is it agents? Everybody's talking about agents.
Yeah, agents, everyone talk about it, but agents term is just like people are like to use it. I think the next big thing is like just that we are seeing that the interface is like slowly disappearing. I think there needs to be like a one gatekeeper, kind of like an API, because when you look at it, everything is an API and on front of it, there's an interface. But for example, you create one universal API that you can reach, I don't know, everything from Gmail all the way to your Calendly, all the way to your Drive, blah, blah, all the stuff that you have like connected to this one thing. And then you just like talk with it. Then your assistant is able to, you don't have to have any interface at all anymore. So you just like talk about things and you just get stuff done. It is connected to your Slack. It is connected to your blah, blah. So I think it's going to go into the direction that the interfaces will get lost more and more. And then there will be one central point that you can use for accessing everything.
Wow, that's such an interesting idea. Like, I'm looking now at my Chrome. I'm sure everybody has this. I have like 30 open tabs with so many different apps. I have WhatsApp, I have Gmail. And yeah, imagine one tab with a chat and that you can just, I don't know. You need to find a way to also get the information, like your emails and stuff. So without going there. But that's such a cool idea. Like you text to it, like send an email or do this and do that, send a message to, I don't know, my partner or whatever.
Yeah, I think that there's still going to be an interface, but it's going to be such a minimal interface that is able to turn into anything. You say like, make a graph out of my WhatsApp messages every week. And it's just like, yeah, I will come up with that. But it's like never thought out before, right? It's going to be hyper custom for each user. Maybe they're going to have like their specific things. And I think the interface as we know it is not really going to exist in the future. And for that, we need to be able to have like one API gatekeeper or something like that is able to connect all your accounts and like just make it available to the AI. Because like when you look at AI, it's able to do all the things. It can call, can do everything basically, but it doesn't have the legs and arms. So we need to give the legs and arms to it. So also like physically it will happen, also the robotics, there will be legs and arms, but we also need to give the legs and arms in the software so it can just like walk around and go to your Gmail and do certain things and then come back.
There are people who are scared to give it the legs and arms though. which is
It's coming. There's, I think, no escape from that.
You can't
Terminator.
stop it. Terminator is coming. Jay, I had a great time. Thank you so much for everything. This was, I think, super, super insightful, and really happy for the progress TextCortex is doing. And
Thank you very
I hope
much.
to see you very soon on the runs in person again.
Actually, see you tomorrow. I'm coming this time.
Amazing. Very looking forward. Thank you so much, Jay. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir. You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.